Welcome to this session of operations management. Operations management is a very important subject. It is taught in almost all the management colleges. It is taught in engineering colleges also. So we will like to know what is operations management. So first of all, let us try to know what is operations. Operations, as you can see on the slide, the process of changing inputs into outputs and thereby adding value is known as operations. So for example, there could be a manufacturing company wherein there are inputs, like if you see there is a sugar mill, the inputs are the sugar cane, and then they do processes in the sugar mills and they convert it into sugar. Similarly, if you see paper mills, the input is the trees, the wood. They convert, they process the wood and they convert it into different types of paper. Similarly, you go to an educational institution, there is a candidate who is a raw candidate, and then this raw candidate is given the education, and after that this candidate comes out as an educated individual. So therefore, we are adding value to the inputs and converting into outputs. Now let us know what do you mean by operations management. If you see on this slide, so it says that the business function responsible for planning, coordinating and controlling the resources needed to produce a company's products and services. So what are the various management functions involved in this transformation process? So like in principles of management, you have studied that it requires planning, it requires coordinating or organizing, then staffing and controlling. So similarly, you also need to do the planning, coordinating, organizing and controlling of all your resources so that you can convert the output in an efficient manner, in a productive manner. So let us know what are the various processes and operations required in this. So for example, if you see on this slide, what are the various kinds of inputs? The inputs are your employees, which are frontline workers, machinists, operators, supervisors, managers, senior management. Then you have all kinds of equipment. You have plant, machinery, you have computers, servers, you have various kinds of infrastructure, that is called facilities. Then you need various kinds of materials, and you need power, energy in the form of, it could be electrical power, it could be solar power, it could be geothermal power. So you need energy. So these are the various kinds of inputs. Sometimes we also say that inputs are the 5 M's, that is men and women, materials, money is another input, which is your finance, then your machines, and then your methods is the technology, the methodology by which you will be doing the transformation. So these are the various inputs which you require in any process. After that, you do certain operations on it, you do certain work on it, you do certain transformation on it. So this is a indication which we are showing as an illustration, that there could be so many processes, 1, 2, 3, 4, there could be 100 processes in an industry, in a large industry, there could be 5 processes in a small industry. So after that, you generate an output. This output could be in the form of goods, this output could be in the form of services. For example, when you go to a hospital, you are sick, you are not feeling well, you show to a doctor, the doctor prescribes you some medicines, or there could be some process to be done on the patient. There could be some bandage done on the patient, there could be some small surgery, there could be a big operation. So what you are getting is the services. And what is involved in it? There are internal customers and external customers. Who are internal customers and external customers? External customers are the usual customers which we use in the literary sense. So these are the customers to whom these organizations are serving. Internal customers we call the employees of the company are the internal customers. So we require them. For example, as I gave you the example of a hospital, There the patient is there to do some work upon him. So the patient is also involved. So that means the external customer is also involved. When you go to a hair salon for a haircut or for some facial to be done, so you yourself are required over there. So therefore external customer is also required in the case of service industry. So, and then if you see on this diagram, there is a feedback system over there. If you see at the bottom, it's written that information on performance, you need to know that was there any lag in the performance, was the real performance as per the expected performance or not. So you are taking a feedback, you are taking an information, and based on the information you can take the corrective action also to improve your processes, to improve your systems, or to change some of your inputs. So now you can see this a consolidated diagram, the same diagram. So input, so what we were doing was transformation and we were converting them into outputs. And the feedback system at the bottom, basically you are comparing your actual performance with the expected performance or with the planned performance. And then accordingly at the top you are seeing this block which is showing adjustment. You do adjustment in your processes, you tweak your processes. Sometimes you may change your inputs, you may have to increase your inputs, or you may have to decrease certain inputs. And so continuously you have to do the monitoring and controlling of your processes. So ultimately what you are doing is value addition. The output should be value added output, then the inputs. So for example, value added processes can be either you are altering, you are doing certain alteration in the inputs. For example, you take a car to the garage, to the repair workshop. So you are getting it serviced, you are getting it repaired. So something is being altered. So all the manufacturing companies also are basically altering the raw materials and converting into different form, different shape, different utility. There could be a value added process called transportation. So there are all transportation companies, logistic companies, whether in railways, whether shipping companies, airlines. So they are providing services of transport. So it is also a process. So it's also an operations management. Then storage. Storage is also another kind of a business. There are warehouses. For example, you have a public sector company in India, like Food Corporation of India or Warehousing Corporation of India. Their job is to store the food for the whole country. So storage, there are then in the small scale there are a lot of cold storages wherein we keep our products, maybe food products, agricultural products, so that they don't get deteriorated with the passage of time. So a lot of operations and processes are required for that. Then inspection, quality control is also another process. So basically if we see the management process and we see planning, organizing, controlling. So what do you want to plan? You plan for your product. What product should I manufacture? So this is another strategic decision you have to take in operations management. What are my core competencies? Can I produce this product or not? For example, you have heard about this famous company Bajaj Auto Limited. Bajaj Auto Limited was famous company known for its scooters. They used to make Bajaj scooters, Bajaj Super, Bajaj Priya, Bajaj Chetak. So it was a very famous company. And their famous slogan was Buland Bharat ki Buland Tasveer, Hamara Bajaj, Hamara Bajaj. But several years later, the company decided to stop the production of scooters. They are now only producing motorcycles, only bikes. So depending on the demand from the market, demand from the consumer, the company has to take a call whether to produce that product or not. Sometimes it happens that company doesn't have core competency in that product, so they should not go into that. Then they have to plan for the process also. What kind of processes? So you will be learning in the due course of time, what are the various kinds of processes. There are job processes, there are very continuous process industry, there is batch process industry. So what kind of processes is required? So that kind of decision has to be taken. Then facility location. Location is a very important step in operations management. Sometimes the business is good, the business selection was right, but the location of the business was wrong. So that is why the business failed over there. So even if you want to run a retail store, a lot of operations are required in retailing also. In retailing, what are the operations required? You will purchase the goods from the wholesaler or from the manufacturer. You will put tags on it, retail price on it. You will put it separately in different shelves, and then you will be displaying it to the retail customer, and then finally you will be selling it. But if you have chosen a wrong location, your business may fail. So therefore operations management play a very important role in terms of location. Then next is facility layout. Once you have chosen the location where, for example, if it's a retail store, if it's a departmental store, for example, so where will be the counter, cash counter, where you will display children's goods. For example, it is a garments showroom. So where will be the location of the children's garments, where will be the location of the gents garments, ladies section, where will be the place for trial room, so on and so forth. So facility layout is an important part. Then comes capacity planning. Sometimes it happens that the demand for a product or service is very less, but you have taken a big location with a huge capacity. So ultimately, your capacity will get wasted. Or the other way around. The demand was much more, but you went out for a small manufacturing plant. And now there is more demand, now you cannot expand your business. So capacity, that is how many tons of cement I want to produce, how many customers will come, what should be the size of my restaurant, so on and so forth. So capacity planning is a necessary ingredient of operations management. Next, once you have planned all these things, you have to organize. So organizing, if you see on this slide, you have to select the suitable personnel for it, suitable staff for it, skilled people. You have to design your job. You have to do the work design, what kind of job they will be required. You have to set standards, what kind of benchmarks you are setting, what kind of quality you will be making. So should I take ISO 9000? Should I go for ISO 14000? Should I take ISI mark? So there has to be standards in everything. And what will be your payment systems? So although it's an HR thing, but it also is a part of operations management. Then the third part is controlling. You have to monitor. You have to have a feedback system like you saw in the earlier diagram. So what kind of quantity we are producing? If you are producing more than the desired quantity, then you are making wasted quantities. If you are making less than the desired quantity, then your demand, you are not able to fulfill the demand. Your demand is going waste. Then you have to have control on the quality also. If you have set some quality, your operation system should match that quality. Then timely deliveries is important. Inventory levels should be accurate, should be right. Raw material inventory, semi-finished goods inventory. Inventory means stocks of the goods. For example, you have got an order and you do not have the stocks, you do not have the inventory. So you will not be able to fulfill that order. Or the other way around, you have got huge inventories and by the time you have got the order, half of the inventories have become obsolete. So therefore, the right kind of inventory, so inventory control you will be studying as a chapter. Then cost control is another important part. You have to keep costs in control, whether it's a costly product, whether it's a medium priced product or low cost product, doesn't matter. You have to control all the costs. Otherwise, your product will become costly than the competition. And then maintenance management is very important. So there will be a separate chapter on maintenance. So there are various kinds of maintenance. For example, in a manufacturing industry, you have to maintain your machinery. You have to maintain your systems, your infrastructure. There are various kinds of maintenance which you will be studying. There is a breakdown maintenance, there is a scheduled maintenance, there is preventive maintenance, there is predictive maintenance. So all these kinds of maintenance, and what kind of maintenance is suitable for my kind of business. So all that we study in operations management. So therefore, if you are an operations manager, you require knowledge of the production processes. You should be able to take decisions, and there are decision making tools also in operations management and in operations research. So for example, if you see on this slide, in a bank there are so many activities. There is retail banking, there is wholesale banking, there is industrial banking, there is H&I bankings. They want to give loan, they have agricultural loans, they have industrial loans, they have retail loans, personal loans, so on and so forth. So the moment a customer comes and asks for a loan, what is the turnaround time in which you are sanctioning that loan? So that is operations management. Gone are the times when banking system was not equipped with technology. If you wanted to make a bank demand draft, you want to send to say admission in some college, you want to send a DD over there, demand draft. It used to take the full day to get a DD made at the end of the day. But today, within 5-10 minutes, a DD is made in the bank. So that is operations management. That is how quickly the customer's need is fulfilled. The customer's query is resolved. The customer's complaint is handled. So operations management, there are various levels of decisions we have to take. There are strategic decisions. Then we have to know about the processes. We have to control the quality. As we have seen in the earlier slide also, the location decision has to be taken. The layout decision has to be taken. So all these collectively are known as operating decisions. So if you see in this particular slide, we are like, you have so many departments. You have got finance department, you have got marketing department, you have got HR department. So similarly, operations department is also one such function. So besides accounting, distribution, engineering, finance, human resource and marketing. So operations is an important function. So what are the skill areas you require in operations management? You need skills of quantitative methods. There are some calculations also which you need to do. For example, in quality, there are methods like statistical quality controls by which you measure the quality. For example, you want to undertake some project. So there are project management. You have to make network diagrams. You have to use applications like CPM, PERT, critical path method, PERT, program evaluation and review techniques. Then you should also be able to deal with your people, deal with your employees, with your workers. So organizational behavior skills are also required. So general management skills are required. Today, the operations or any manufacturing company, or for that matter any service industry, cannot work without information technology, computer systems, robotic systems, cloud computing, electronic commerce. So therefore a lot of MIS systems are required, management information systems are required. So you also need to have knowledge of international practices in manufacturing, in operations, and of course you also need to have some business ethics. You must know what are the environmental laws today. Today a lot of emphasis is on corporate governance. Today there is a lot of emphasis on sustainability. Today there is a lot of emphasis on environmental control. So you need to adapt your processes, your manufacturing systems in such a way that they do not affect your environment. They do not affect your ecosystem. So that there is a balance in the ecosystem, and we maintain sustainability in our environment. So today the mantra is ESG. ESG is the new corporate mantra. and it is also the need of the day, and there are legal requirements also for it. ESG means environmental controls, S is social responsibility, and G is governance system, corporate governance systems. So as far as environment is concerned, operations management has a lot of responsibility to save the environment. So now let us try to understand the operations management vis-a-vis a manufacturing organization and vis-a-vis a service organization. Operations management is required in both these things. So in a manufacturing organization, generally we produce physical product, or we can say tangible product, durable product. So we produce an output that can be stocked or inventoried. For example, an automobile industry, a pharmaceutical industry, a sugar industry, a paper industry, a textile industry, a shoe industry. So they are producing a product which are physical products. So generally we say there is a low customer contact. Have we visited the Maruti plant to buy our Maruti car? We buy it from the dealer. We don't have to visit the manufacturing plant. Have we ever visited a shoe manufacturing company? No, we buy it from a retailer. So there is a low customer contact of the manufacturer with the direct customer. And there is a long response time. Why long response time? Because by the time the product is made, it is then sent to distributor, then distributor will sell it to wholesaler, then wholesaler will sell to retailer, and then finally the customer will buy it. And customer may buy it say after 1 month when it is in the retail shop, it may be after 6 months when it is in a retail shop. So by the time the response comes from the customer, it may be a few months time. And generally the markets are regional markets, national markets, or international markets. Today you make a product, you sell it to any country, you export it. So you can have a wide market for physical goods. Then generally manufacturing facilities are associated with large facilities, large manufacturing plants. It is more capital intensive because a lot of money is required in building that infrastructure, machinery, plant. And quality can be easily measured. There are various ways which you will be studying in the quality management chapter. So quality can be measured, the product can be tested on a machine, the products, some products elasticity can be measured, some products breaking point can be measured, their malleability can be measured, their ductility can be measured, etc. Right. So these are the characteristics of a manufacturing plant, where operations management is slightly different from the service industry. So when you see a service industry, you will make, if you will see the slide, on this slide you can see these products are intangible products. So basically it's not a product, it's a service. We call such services as intangible. For example, you have got a haircut in a hair salon. So it's a service you have got. You go and watch a movie. So it's a service. So you have got a good experience out of that. You go to an educational institution, you are getting education. So it's an intangible product. So it cannot be stored, it cannot be inventoried. So it's such an output. So high customer contact, usually service industry is associated, you are involved in the service output. And there is a short response time. Immediately you can tell to your professor, sir, I am not able to understand, please explain me again. So there is a short response time. Local markets are there, small facilities in comparison to manufacturing facilities, and it is more labor intensive, and quality cannot be easily measured because people, different people will see a particular thing in a different way. So this is the difference we are seeing, and we will talk about it later, and we will see how operations management is different in the service industry and the manufacturing industry.